what interventions can come? What can we suggest in ensuring that ordinary South Africans get the advantage of these processes? I think that would be my answer, Commissioner.
Thank you, CJ.
Okay. Commissioner Trollip?
Thank you, Chief Justice, and thank you, Judge President, for your comprehensive and specific representation about what you would bring to this position. Your candidacy was accompanied by a number of complaints, which led me to think of the adage that the tallest trees collect the most wind.
I'm sorry, I'm struggling to hear you, Commissioner Trollip. Would you bring your mic closer or at least speak into it?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. I said to the Judge President that his candidacy was accompanied by a number of complaints, which led me to think of the adage that the tallest trees collect the most wind. And the matter of abuse of positions of power or authority leading to overbearing behavior and sexual harassment is rightly a matter that's in the forefront of public debate and is even being dealt with in our courts where senior jurists are implicated or are involved. You yourself were previously ambushed by such allegations that were found to have been unsubstantiated and then subsequently expunged from the record of your previous appearance here. But you said in your response to one of the complainants, Wise Africa, that you had not attended gender-specific training per se, but that you had attended diversity training in 2019 and that there was more training scheduled for the 17th and 19th of this month, of June. Did you attend that training?
The diversity
training
workshop, yes.
Yes.
I arranged it. I was there.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And then, JP, notwithstanding the testimonies of senior judicial leaders here present about your affirmation and commitment to gender empowerment, could you contextualize and elucidate us a bit about your response to Wise Africa about a case where 2 judges were involved in sexual harassment or allegations of sexual harassment, where you included the support or advice of a retired judge? Don't have to go into the merits of the case, but just to give us an idea of how you dealt with it.
Thanks for that question, Commissioner Trollip. 2 judges in the Pretoria division approached me on separate occasions, telling me that there was one colleague who was harassing them sexually. And you know, I don't know if I mentioned it, but when you lead judges, you lead intellectual beings. You are able to sit and reason and talk to them. And I asked, how long has this been going on? And it appeared that it was not of long duration. And I said, so should we initiate the complaints mechanism? They said no, they don't think they want to go that far, but they want, because they feel they've been affected, right? They need an engagement of sorts. And I asked them, I will speak to the judge concerned and tell him to stop with your permission. And 2, when you say they said they needed to speak to someone senior where they can offload what they've been subjected to and probably get counseling of sorts, right? And that informed my decision to source the services of a retired constitutional court judge to talk to them. And this was with their consent and agreement. And they had that discussion, and that was the end of the matter.
CJ, could I just
You
have
want a third question now?
What's that, ma'am?
You've asked 2 questions.
Can I just have a follow-up, brief follow-up?
All right, make it brief.
JP, they say in this regard, sexual harassment, that it's unlikely that a leopard will change its spots without remedial attention. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm sure there could be truth in that, but I want to believe that when disciplinary action is taken against an individual for having done something that that individual should not have done, that would say to that particular individual, this is not a go, this is no go area, don't do it again. I think I can leave it at that. Yeah.
Just a quick follow-up. JP, when you speak to people who come to you that were being harassed here by this and that, and you ask the question, how has it been going? For how long has it been going? They tell you, what do you want me to do? And then they say, no, we just wanted to ventilate this matter with someone senior, and you leave it at that. Had you proceeded to confront that person or even subject that person to some form of a disciplinary process against the wishes of those complainants, was that not going to be harassment on its own?
Commissioner Lema, thanks for that question. They had specifically no, they don't want to go there, but they gave me permission to confront the person, and I confronted the person, and I told him to stop. Yes.
Commissioner Kotze?
Thank you, Chief Justice, and good afternoon, JP. You remarked that whilst the workload of judges has increased, judicial capacity has not. Having regard to the financial constraints faced by the judiciary, what practical steps would you take as the Deputy Chief Justice to address the strain on the judicial capacity?
Thank you very much, Commissioner Gottsel, for that question. Well, there's no two ways about it. The judicial capacity has to be increased. But that's not the only solution. We need to take advantage of other tools that we can use to assist us. I know when I mention artificial intelligence, I raise eyebrows. But in 2 weeks' time, or next week, during the SAJE conference, we'll have a judge from Brazil talking to us about how that jurisdiction has enabled rules-based AI in helping them, not decide their cases, but as tools from case flow management, research assistance, and how that has made them more efficient. So I think we need to take advantage of more of what's in the environment that we can use around us. But the increase of judicial posts is a must. The increase of the support levels, the staff support levels, is a must, as well as the infrastructure within which we work. That's a must. So those are discussions that the CJ has already started, and I'm going to be supporting her fully in that regard.
Thank you, CJ.
Commissioner Baloyi, do you want to follow up on your objections?
Yes, thank you, CJ. But perhaps, CJ, before I do that, I've just confirmed with Commissioner Ngcukaitobi, the chairperson of my committee, and we think in the light of an exchange, part of the exchange with Commissioner Trollip, it's necessary for us, for completeness of public record, that we say something about this aspect. You commissioners, we did report earlier the objections that we received, and one of them was from Women Inspired Solutions for Empowerment, WISE. Commissioner Trollip refers to the previous interview of JP Mlambo for the position of Chief Justice and the ruling of then President Petse, that part of the interview should be expunged from the record. Now, the WISE has this time around sought to have filed what they refer to as an objection relating to that same issue without any facts. What they've said is this was raised previously, it must still be discussed with JP Mlambo. And the committee, as we reported this morning to the private meeting of the JSC, was that we have considered that objection, and we took into account that this was the subject of your last appearance when you appeared for the candidature of Chief Justice. And there was a ruling by the chairperson, then Deputy President, I apologize, Petse, that part of the record should be expunged from the record. That decision stands, and the committee decided that we are bound, the JSC is bound by that decision of Deputy Judge President Petse, and taking into account that what Wise has raised this time is exactly the same thing. It doesn't have any facts. It simply refers back and says, well, that should be rehashed again. We decided it wouldn't be put to you. And that's what we reported back to the JSC this morning. So as a matter of public record, there is no, as far as we're concerned, there is no objection that needs to be put to you, and that needs to be responded to on this aspect. Coming to the objection that you should be given the opportunity to respond to, this arises from the Lambore matter. JP, you were given the objection from the counsel and attorney who appeared before you. It was a matter before you and Judges Twala and Judge Collis. And the objection from these legal representatives, there's two parts of it. Commissioner Hassan refers to the fact one as a concern. It's in fact one of the objections or grounds for objecting, the delay in delivering a decision or a judgment on the application for leave to appeal. You've dealt with that, and we don't expect you to speak to that again. The second part of it, which you are aware of and you have responded to, is the complaint, in fact, that you made an order, your full court made an order that the legal representatives in that matter of the applicants should be personally liable for costs, but you also ordered that their conduct must be brought to the attention of the Legal Practice Council. The complaint and ground for objection is that your court made those orders without affording them the opportunity to make submissions, both on the risk of, on why they shouldn't be marketed with personal cost orders, and to what they refer to as the adverse comment about them, that their conduct deserves a referral to the LPC to look into. You have responded to that, but perhaps this is the opportunity as well to deal with it publicly. And we put this to you quite aware that these same issues are the subject of a complaint before the JCC. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question, Commissioner Baloyi. It is correct that I've responded. I think the remaining part of that complaint is that we handed down the cost judgment without a hearing. That is not correct. There was a hearing, the main hearing, and when we reserved our judgment on the main matter, as well as that part, we singled it out specifically. We said, we are concerned that you may have engaged in professional misconduct, or there may have been some malfeasance in how you went about dealing with this matter. We request you to file affidavits, you and your clients, to file affidavits and tell us what your view is of our concerns, right? They didn't respond to that. What they did was to apply for leave to appeal the main judgment, where we had not decided that part. So it's like, instead of giving a judgment to say the application is dismissed and costs are the following, we reserved the issue of costs because we said, talk to us, tell us why we shouldn't go there. They didn't. And then when they didn't, they applied for leave to appeal. We didn't issue our judgment. We dealt with the leave to appeal on the main judgment and dismissed it. Only after we dismissed it did we then deliver the judgment. We also waited some time, actually, before we delivered the cost judgment. We waited for some time and they didn't come back to us. What they did was to file a petition with the Supreme Court of Appeal. In my view, the way I understand the law, a petition does not suspend the operations in the previous court. That's my view of the law. They seem to think because they filed that petition, we should have held back and waited for the petition to be dealt with, and once it's been dealt with, to see what happens if they go to the Concord, to also wait for them and see what happens there. And that's not my reading of the law. And that's why I responded in the manner I did, that they were given an opportunity, right? And once they didn't exercise the opportunity given them to file affidavits explaining themselves, we were at liberty to issue the cost judgment, which they've now applied for leave to appeal and which is the subject of the other complaint. I think that's the response I gave. That's the response I give now.
The second part to it, so there's the cost issue, but the
Yes.
second part of that complaint is that you made an adverse comment about their conduct.
Yes.
To the extent that you say it should be referred to the LPC.
Yes.
And they were not given the opportunity to deal with that part.
Well, I suppose what it boils down to is they're saying, whilst they were not given an opportunity to deal with the cost judgment, they should also have been given an opportunity why we should refer this matter to the LPC. I looked at the code of conduct, the rule they refer to. It doesn't support that stance. Not at all. And I want to believe that the opportunity we gave them to say something was enough. And in any event, whatever adverse comments we've made are not binding on the LPC. And we're not finding them guilty. We're just expressing our displeasure at what they did. The LPC is free to tell us that these three judges are mad. There's nothing wrong here. Or come and talk to us. Why did you engage in this thing? That would be my answer, Commissioner Baloyi.
Thank you, CJ.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. One last question from me, JP Mlambo, and I raise this with you because it will most likely come up during deliberations when you're no longer there to express your views to us on the issue. You turn 66 shortly. How long would you serve in the position of Deputy Chief Justice if appointed? And should it matter that you are only slightly older than the other candidates, which puts them in a sort of an advantageous position because they would serve a little longer than you if appointed?
CJ, thanks for that question. I will reach the age of 70 in 2029. That's 4 years and probably 3 months from now, because I turned 66 in September this year. So in September 2019, I'll be 70. So it's a period of 4 years and 3 months. Oh, sorry, I don't know how long it will take the president to make a decision.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully not long.
yeah, so it's a period of 4 years, CJ, and there's nothing I can do about it. I was born earlier than my two brothers, and one of them actually is a year younger than me, not a lot. The other one is quite a youngster.
As
I say
said,
this respectively.
just slightly older.
Yeah. So, but CJ, that's where I can put it. I mean, if it's a concern, it shouldn't be a concern. I think the CJ will be serving until 2034, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
Somewhere there. So, from a career development point of view, and this is me sort of advancing my case, it would serve the CJ quite well to have a candidate who would leave before her and bring in someone else as DCJ who can take over from her when she goes. I think it's a way of looking at it.
That's a very smart answer, JP Mlambo. Thank you very much, JP. And thank you for accepting the president's nomination for this vacancy. And for your patience with us today. It's been a longish interview, longer than one anticipated it would take, but you handled it gracefully. So unless there's anything you wish to raise with us, you're free to go.
Chief Justice, I want to thank you, the commissioners, for inviting me to this interview. I take this process seriously. And as I've said in my presentation, it's a very important position in the judiciary landscape, the position of Deputy Chief Justice. And I hope I have helped you and the Commission in forming a view about me. And I leave it at that. But thank you very much for interviewing me.
Thank you, JP. You're free to go, as I said. Colleagues, we take the lunch